Hi, thank you for stopping by my channel. In this video, I'm going to show you how to regrow scraps from a store-bought onion and store-bought leek, how to grow those, to root those, and to transplant those into your own pots so that you can grow perpetually free green onions and leeks. I hope you like this video. Please like, subscribe, and click the bell notification for notification of new videos. Thank you. Okay, so here we are in the kitchen, and you'll just need a few things. You'll need your green onions, a knife of some sort, and a cutting board, and glasses of water. Okay, so it's real easy. What we do is we just cut off the end. This is a green onion, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off about and leave about 1.5 inches of the green onion. You can do it when you cut it down closer to the bottom, but it doesn't work as good. So I'm going to cut about 1.5 inches, leaving 1.5 inches left. Okay, for the green onions. And I'm going to go ahead and put that in water. It only needs a little bit of water to cover the base of the roots, and it will actually start to grow like this. As you can see, you don't want to waterlog it, just the roots are in water. The leek is the same way. I'll probably cut a little bit higher up on the leek, maybe 2.5, 3 inches. I'm gonna go ahead and cut that. And the same thing with the leek. I'll just take that and put that in water. Okay, and so I'll leave that, and you'll notice even within 24 hours that the top of this leek will start to grow and new growth will appear here. It'll start to almost look like a pyramid or a triangle in the top, and you'll see the roots of the leek will start to grow longer. The same thing for the green onions. So I'll come back in a few days and show you how the progress is. Okay, so it's been 3.5 days. Let's take a look at the progress on our green onions and on our leek. Okay, so I'll start with the leek. So it's been 3.5 days. Here is the original cut line where I cut it. Look at all of the new root growth. It has grown about 3 inches in the last 3.5 days. So this new top growth, this is the original cut line right here. So this new, it's doubled in size basically in 3.5 days. And a lot of new root growth. Now let's look at the green onions and see what's going on there. Same thing, tons of new root growth. Basically have doubled in size in 3.5 days. So these have probably put on another inch for this one, maybe 1.5 inches for this on new growth. And look at all of these roots. So these are doing really well. Let's check on the other ones. Yeah, they're doing really well also. So new growth, 1 inch to maybe a little over 1 inch on this one. And tons of new root growth for this. This one has a lot of roots, they're just short, and a few long ones, okay? But it's gonna be fine, it's gonna be fine. So the next step is to, once they've gotten this far, and you can leave them longer in the water, they'll continue to grow. You can even grow them all the way up using water. But what I always do is I plant them now into pots outside. And that's how all the green onions and leeks that I have in my garden have come. They've come from store-bought onions and store-bought leeks that I cut and left about 1 inch, and for the leek, maybe about 3 inches on the bottom. And then I transplanted them out into my garden. And then over the past few years, they've gone to seed. The seeds have fallen down. I've gotten new onions, and every time I harvest my onions from the garden, come out of my garden, I leave the roots on them. I put them right back into the ground and they regrow. And if I ever get store-bought onions, which I almost never do now because I have enough green onions to take care of our family of 4. So perpetually free onions and leeks. So the next thing we're going to do is put them into pots outside. Okay, so now we're outside, and I'm going to plant the green onions that I have. I'm gonna put one in here to show you how I plant these out. So basically what I do is I fill up my pot and I use a good potting mix. In this case, I'm using an organic potting mix. Okay, so now I've got my onion and I'm just going to plant it in the soil. Just gonna dig down till I've got about the right depth to get the roots in. And I'm gonna cover up part of the area a little bit higher up the onion, so maybe a 1/4 inch up. I'm just trying to pack it in so that I can give that onion some stability. So there is the original cut line where I cut the onion, and about a 1/4 of an inch below that is where the roots are. So I'm planting a little bit higher up on the onion. This onion right now is crooked because it was searching for the sun in my house. But if you face it away from the sun, it'll grow back towards the sun. If you're gonna put it outside, then you don't have to worry about that. It'll straighten up. So that's how I plant a green onion and how I grow it all the way from store-bought cuttings and put it in the garden. Okay, let's plant the leek into some soil. So here's the leek. This is the original cut line that we made on it, and you can see that it's more than doubled in size in the last 5 days. So what I'm going to do is this is a 2.4 gallon pot, and I recommend using a bigger pot for the leeks. So I'm going to go ahead and plant this about 2 inches down. So I'm not quite up to my original cut line. And I'm using Stay Green container soil. I've used a lot of other types of soil as well. Just use a potting soil if you're putting these into pots. Don't use like topsoil or something that's made for in-ground use that has a lot of fertilizer or something like that. So I'm just packing it in. I'm not putting it in too tight. But here's our planted leek. So now what we want to do is we want to water this leek in. Okay, let's go ahead and water in our leek and our green onion. Now normally when I'm planting green onions, I planted this one as if I was going to take it back into the house and put it on a windowsill. I planted this green onion in the size of pot that I would use if I was going to take it back in and grow it. Let's say like if I lived up in a northern climate, I'd probably take this thing back in and continue to grow it on the windowsill. Or if it's over winter, I would continue to grow it on the windowsill in the house. Normally though, what I do with green onions and with leeks is I plant them into the pot and then I move them into the garden. I wanted to show you a couple of green onions that I have already grown from cuttings, store-bought cuttings, and a leek that I've already grown from store-bought cuttings. First, here are some of the green onions that I've already grown. You can see that these green onions are already flowering, and I planted several in one larger pot. In this pot, I have 6 different green onions, and you can tell that some of the shoots have been cut. And what my family does is we use these shoots daily, and so we have a lot of green onions, and they've all been grown from store-bought green onions. And what will happen is they'll start to flower in the springtime, and they'll go to seed. The seed will also fall to the ground, and more green onions will grow. And so you can get it almost perpetually. Here's the leek that we just planted. I'd like to show you a leek that I planted just about a month ago. So here's a leek that I planted a month ago. It's already getting ready to flower, and after it flowers, it will also go to seed. And so you can see the difference in size between those two leeks. They started at the same stage. They were both Grown from store-bought cuttings. So we used the leek. I took the root base just like we did, grew it out in water, and then transplanted it into a pot and then put the pot outside. You can see now that this has maybe just another week or so before the blossom comes on and the plant flowers, and then there will be more seeds. You can save those seeds and you can plant those yourself and grow more leeks. The same thing with the green onions. So this green onion here, inside each one of these flowers is a little seed. Once they dry out, this will die, it'll dry out. You can take the seeds from that and plant those in other pots and you'll grow more green onions. So not only can you perpetually regrow the green onions that you bought from the grocery store, you can also save the seed and plant those seeds into other pots and grow even more than what you originally bought from the grocery store. So you can indefinitely get free green onions and free leeks by using this method. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, and share. And God bless you.